learning is a constant companion, or it should be a constant companion, because only then learning can really create competitive advantages. And when I say that, I don't only mean competitive advantages for employers, but also for employees, right?
Welcome to the Trend Detection podcast, powered by Siemens.
Welcome to the Trend Detection, the podcast where we explore the trends shaping the future of industry. Maybe you were expecting Neil, but he allowed me to steal this podcast. And when you're Dutch, you maybe know me from the Spark of Industry podcast. I'm Nienke Vergeer, your host of this episode. And of course, I'm a colleague of Neil. And next to hosting podcast time to time, I'm responsible for the digital transformation of SMEs and startups within the Netherlands. And today's topic is something what touches every organization, regardless its size or sector. Companies are rapidly digitalizing, experienced employees are retiring, and new technologies are arriving faster than ever before. However, a lot of organizations still struggle to keep their workforce up to speed. So we have quite a challenge up ahead. So how can companies actually build their skills they need for tomorrow while managing the challenges they face today? And to help answer that question, I'm joined by Vera, our global marketing manager for SITRAIN. And SITRAIN is what Siemens industrial training provider is. So welcome, Vera.
Thank you, Nienke. It's very great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And let's start a little bit with a bigger picture. What do you think? What are the trends we're currently having? What's the greatest impact on the workforce development in industry today?
Yeah, I actually think there are a couple of trends, and somehow they are very much intertwined with each other. So on the one hand, I'm sure we all have heard of this many of times, but it's the good old gap of skilled workers. This is still a trend that is very much relevant at the moment. And what does it mean? We have a lot of people leaving for their well-deserved retirement, and we have lesser new people coming in the companies. So what that means is actually that with the people who leave the companies and retire, also a lot of knowledge leaves. And so somehow we also have a gap of knowledge because of this. Then, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was directly curious.
Yeah.
What are the effects of a gap of knowledge? What does happen then to a company?
You have the issue when no one knows how to troubleshoot, for example, on the shop floor. You have unexpected downtime, an issue. Your one specialist that you have for that machine is maybe on vacation or not available, and you have no one that actually knows or is quite familiar with the machine. You really have an issue here. So this really can become even bigger, and it's not just with someone on the shop floor. It can be wherever in the industry, in the offices as well. Of course, there you have different issues, but yeah, it's actually a big problem.
Yeah, so we see that, and of course we love that at Siemens, that organization invests in automation, AI, and digitalization. But we see also that some projects struggle in the digital transformation and to get expected results. Is that also something with this gap?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you think of digital transformation or digitalization and so on, it's really just one side of the story to think about. Yeah, I need to invest in new tools, I need new machines, I need new systems. Because if you invest in that, then that's great. Congrats, you have the newest technology in your company, right? But this is just the one side. You actually need someone who knows how to configure, how to operate, how to troubleshoot, like I was just explaining. And this is really the other side of the story. So actually, in my opinion, digitalization and transformation really is a people topic. And people can actually really be the bottleneck here because they need to adapt alongside technology. And that's why, yeah, skills often really determine the success of digitalization and transformation.
Yeah, so you speak about adopting alongside technology, building your new skills. Mm-hmm. But what we see also in practice that traditionally training means that you're sitting in a classroom twice a year on a day. That approach doesn't seem to fit anymore. Or can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that it doesn't fit at all anymore because we are all individuals, right? Everyone has different learning habits, individual learning needs. So for some people, being away from work and actually sitting in a classroom, either in person or in a virtual classroom, is still the way to go. It's the best way for them to learn in a protected learning environment and to try new things without having switching between work tasks and learning and stuff like that. However, with the speed in technology, etc., it may be easier to be able to learn in a way where you don't have to book a training in advance, then you have to wait 3 months, then you attend that training, and then you go back to work. And maybe by the time you're back, there's a totally new technology already, and you just learned everything, and now it's somewhat outdated, right? Don't get me wrong, it's still good to know basics and to keep learning, but it may be the case that knowledge is just getting outdated even faster than it used to be.
Yeah.
And coming back to your question, I think traditional training is still a big part nowadays. However, like I said, employees need the information and knowledge now. They don't have the time to wait. And therefore, digital learning is actually becoming a very huge player. And there I would actually have a question to you, Nienke, because I know digitalization is really also your topic.
Yeah.
So I would also be very interested to hear what is your take on that, actually.
It's the easy way to just say, I agree. Because if I look to myself, of course, I wouldn't say that I have the attention span of a goldfish, but I see indeed when I'm focused at work or walking around the factory of a customer, for example, the day of today is the most important moment most of the time. And there is a lot already happening in the world for companies in the industry. So it's just cybersecurity, indeed changing aging workforce, but also sustainability. There's a lot coming towards them, and they still have to produce, for example. So yeah, it's going to a classroom once in a while, that's good, but indeed switching and learning on the job with it doesn't give you like a half a day a week or something like that. It's really useful. So if you can compact learning snippets along your work when it's necessary, it's good, I think.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But that also brings what I already said to one of the questions I hear when I'm on the work on the floor at industry, at companies. Our people don't have time for training. How do you respond to that? Because that's the big thing nowadays.
That is actually a good one. And I can assure you that is also something that we frequently hear, and that also I myself am telling to my manager. I'm just like, I don't have the time to learn. However, what I think we need to understand is that what I just said also with your question before, that learning doesn't have to mean that you are away for a full day from work. So it really can be micro learning. It can be 5 minutes in between shifts. It can be 10 minutes before your next meeting. It can be 50 minutes on your commute on the train to work or after work. It's vacation time in Europe. If you're laying on a beach and you're bored, you can learn there. So what I'm saying is, really, you can invest a small amount of time today, and it actually can save many hours tomorrow.
Is it also your secret for continuously learning?
Yes, it is, actually. Because learning is a constant companion, or it should be a constant companion, because only then learning can really create competitive advantages. And when I say that, I don't only mean competitive advantages for employers, but also for employees, right? Because if you have a certificate for something, or even just a certificate of participation, and you're trying to switch jobs or climb the ladder a little more, this is something that you can show to your employer. And even when we're thinking of the economy and the environment we're in, this is a nice asset to have and can really actually help you. So yeah, and really the key to all of that is a modern learning culture, I would say. And there I like to use a little metaphor of the learning orchestra, I would like to say. A learning orchestra.
Okay.
So if you think of a typical orchestra, there's different people playing all kinds of instruments, and then you have the one in front who makes sure that everything goes smoothly. And what it really says is, that you need various elements to work together in harmony. And the same goes for learning. A learning culture is a combination of different things. So first of all, learning should be an integral part of the corporate DNA. This is the one thing. Then learning is also based on the personal responsibility. And then it's also important to empower and enable your people to exchange knowledge, to collaborate, and to have a practical experience. So you really have these three different pillars, and only if they play together, then you have a very nice modern learning culture, or you have the chance to build one. Let's put it like that.
And maybe also a little bit of music.
Yes, maybe that.
Another challenge many organizations face is, of course, the retirement. We already spoke about that a little bit. But you also have, when people retire, that new employees will be ordered. How can digital learning help preserve and transfer knowledge before it disappears? Because normally when this happens, you have a really small window of opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, I would say digital learning helps because it's really captured the expertise. So the expertise does not longer lie with your one expert or your one specialist, but you have it, for example, in trainings on a digital learning platform. So that means there you have all the knowledge and you don't have to worry about people because the knowledge is there, whether they're leaving or not. So for onboarding, that means you don't need your one specialist to accompany the new employee for 3 weeks, but you can tell the new employee, hey, we have a learning platform here, for example, do the training A, B, and C, and then we will go from there. So they are more independent when they start, and you as an employer are not dependent on your specialists and experts, say, and for a longer period of time. And if you have digital learning offerings, this also helps to keep a consistent quality across teams because the trainings do not change. Whereas when you have word of mouth or passing on knowledge via communication, some things may miss, some things may be added. And when you have it digitally, it's definitely going to stay the same.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. You were already talking a little bit about the platform. For listeners who aren't familiar yet, we have SITRAIN Access for this. Can you explain it a little bit, what it is, even though you already did way?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, SITRAIN Access, this is our digital learning platform that we are offering for our customers. And this is a learning platform where we currently have over 600 web-based trainings. These trainings cover really all Siemens automation products. So no matter what our customers are working with, as long as it's Siemens automation, we're good to go. And we have them covered with our trainings on there. And what does it mean learning on a digital learning platform? It actually means that our customers can really learn in their own pace because, it's a digital training. If you can only do 5 minutes or this one step takes you a little longer, you have all the time in your hands. It's up to you how fast or how slow you want to go through all the content.
Yeah, and I can imagine that when you buy, for example, some hardware or something where you're not familiar with, but there is no expertise at all in the company, it gives you a kind of kickstart to implement your business running.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Sometimes I explain SITRAIN Access as kind of Netflix to colleagues or customers. Can you of course I think of it, but can you give some explanation why this comparison is so relevant? Because I didn't hear you complain about it when I said this.
No, I actually very much liked it when you brought this comparison up. So first of all, just like Netflix, SITRAIN Access is based on a subscription model. We call the subscription the learning membership. So our customers subscribe and then they have access to all the 600 web-based trainings that I just mentioned. Just like with Netflix, you can watch it anytime, anywhere. And with SITRAIN Access, you can learn anytime and you can learn anywhere. We have a very large content library. I just said it a couple times, over 600 trainings at the moment.
It's filling, right? It's every week there's coming more.
Yes, exactly. That's a good point, Nienke. Thank you for bringing that in. Yeah. No, absolutely. Every week we say we're adding about one training. So it's growing.
So in a year,
Yes.
there are 600.
Probably, yeah. Then just like in Netflix, we have personalized stuff. So in our case, we have personalized learning paths on there. And like I just mentioned before, it's a self-paced consumption, right? So when you're watching a movie on Netflix and after 30 minutes, you're like, oh, now I want to go get ice cream. You just pause, get your ice cream, come back, press on play, and then you pick back up wherever you left off. And it's the same with our training.
Lovely. Getting an eigen training combined with ice cream.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
I heard you already talking a lot about employees. Can you be a little bit more specific? What type of employees benefit from this? Who is this?
For sure. So once again, just generally speaking, really, it's for everyone in the industry working with Siemens automation products. But when I would have to narrow it down to job profiles, I would mainly say it's maintenance engineers, it's automation engineers, then of course service teams and service personnel, and of course production employees. And when we look to the topic of onboarding, of course, it's a great thing for new hires as well.
Okay. I want to challenge you a little bit because it's going too smooth from now.
All right.
Let's say that I have some customers which has certain objections towards learning. First one is costs. Some organization, I don't say which one, see training as an expense instead of an investment. How to tackle that?
Good one, actually. Yeah, of course, when it comes to the money, it gets uncomfortable. I'm sure we all understand that, and we have all heard of that for sure. However, I think you need to do a little comparison maybe. So if you compare what investing in the training of your employees costs versus, for example, what does it cost you when there is an unexpected downtime on your shop floor and you have no one who really is able to fix it because knowledge is missing, for example. What does it cost you? Because this can really sum up in a matter of minutes to millions, right? Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, of course, yeah. But you have to think of it. And this is what we do not want in the industry. Then the cost of mistakes, if someone does somehow know how to use a tool, a system, but not really at the same time. And then mistakes, exactly, mistakes happen and it costs a lot of money. And the same with slow onboarding. You need someone to start and you need to make them ready to work independently as soon as possible because it costs you a lot of money. And the same with people leaving. We have so many people retiring and they are taking so much knowledge with them and we don't even know it, that they have all the knowledge because this is something that is not being talked about enough. So I mentioned a few examples of costs that may happen and you do the math in the end, but I would say investing in training and investing in building up knowledge and skills is probably going to be cheaper in the end.
Okay. If we talk about money, there's one aspect what I really like from SITRAIN Access. It's the freemium model. Can you explain a little bit about it? Because it makes life easier, right?
It does, for sure. So what I just talked about was the learning membership for SITRAIN Access. So the part where you subscribe for it. And of course, this costs money. However, we know this may be a commitment. And therefore, we have also a section on the platform that we like to call freemium. And this is a part where we have selected training on focus topics such as, I don't know, TR Portal, WinCC Unified, etc. And all of our customers and whoever would like to try how SITRAIN Access actually works can try it out via freemium. And like the name just says, it's for free. So you do not have to pay anything. You just have to log in via Siemens ID and then you're good to go. You find a couple of trainings there. You can go through the trainings and just see how the platform feels, how you like learning like that. And it's free.
It's pretty cool. But what I understood was like the trainings which are in the freemium model are mostly the basic ones, right? And when you want to be an advanced learner, then the subscription model is something for you.
Exactly. That is so the trainings on freemium, we have full trainings on there. However, like you said, a lot of them are just the basic trainings. They are for starting, I would say. But it's still a good starting point for you to also understand how digital learning feels like. And like I said, it's not for everyone, but this is a good starting point for you to check that out.
And if some listeners of today wants to start learning tomorrow, or today, I hope today, but what would you recommend as a first step?
Try freemium, right? Okay.
That was an easy one. Okay. And then a harder one. What should you do? How do you think that if we do this everything, this whole learning journey, what's the world looking like in 5 years?
I think it's the world in 5 years is looking like even faster with a lot of new topics coming up. But I feel, Nienke, maybe you could also have a better answer to that question, right? Because that's your topic.
I hope I can dive here. Yeah, I don't know. If you're looking in 5 years, indeed, the world is, I think it's changing. It's changing a lot. You already saw it in the last 2 years. After COVID, everything went super fast. Let's say it that way. Everything is changing. Your whole world around your business is changing. And you, of course, already a lot about AI around you. But what I don't see, of course, in industry, we're already trying and do little stuff with AI, but I expect that in a couple of years it will boom. So now we have the idea there's a lot of AI already ready, but there's a lot of it in the consumer market, and we see that now shifting towards industry. So if I can give you a recommendation, if you want to start learning on AI literacy, for example, and maybe your data skills and a little bit of cybersecurity awareness, because that comes with it, actually. Yeah, and be adaptable in it. So indeed, continuous learning will be crucial. Yeah, you have to absolutely, because the only thing you can say about the coming 5 years, it's going to be even faster than the last 5 years. So learning is a key skill.
Yeah, exactly. And since you brought it up, the topic of being able to adapt, this is something that I feel like will also be major. It will become even bigger than what it is today when we look at the economy and all the restructuring and reorganizing. Being able to adapt and to continuously learn and learn new things, this will be major. Yeah.
If listeners remember one thing of our conversation today, what should it be?
Never stop learning. Okay. Learn every day.
One last thing to end this episode, because of course Neil gave us an assignment with us, because he does something every episode, so we have to do 2, a lightning round. So we close with a quick round where I ask you kind of small questions and you have to answer really, really fast.
Okay.
So are you ready for it? Learning should be?
At your fingertips.
Okay. The biggest workforce challenge today is?
Speed.
The skill every engineer should develop is? Prompting for industrial AI. Okay. One word to describe SITRAIN Access.
Since you did the comparison with Netflix, I would maybe join Siemens and Netflix and say Cflix.
Cool. Complete this next sentence. In a world of constant change,
learning has become a business strategy.
Okay, nice. And Vera, thank you for joining today. One thing that really stands out from our conversation is I think that learning is not longer something that organizations do occasionally. In a world where technology evolves continuously, learning must evolve as well, I think. And the companies that succeed won't necessarily be the ones with the biggest budgets, maybe, because you can do it for free, or the newest technology. It will be the ones who can continuously develop the skills of their people. I hope you agree. So, because I'm summarizing what you said around, I would like to explore what continuous learning can look for you too, for your organization. And you can start today with freemium, as Vera said, and discover the full subscription experience when you want to have some experienced trainings, not advanced trainings, with the learning membership. And thank you for listening to the Trend Detection. And we'll see you next time. I think Neil will steal his episodes back from us. And to explore the next trends and shaping the future of industry.
Please like and subscribe on all major podcast channels. And to find out more about Senseye Predictive Maintenance, go to Siemens.com.